Proceed to roll my piece. Backwoods and the onion of green. Burn one, take a break in between.
You are listening to Hey, We No Mind with show host Wood.
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Great to get in another one. Hey, look, I got a few podcasts out there right now. Excuse me for being rude. This is your host, Wood, coming to you out of Dayton, Ohio. It's the Pay Me No Mind show. One Take Podcast Nation fam. A lot of stuff going on. But like I said, last show, I switched it up and did a big entertainment show that was received very well with a special guest that I just met named Jasmine Dokes. But it was covering Empire. So check that out for me if you get a chance. My man B Meeks with Agree to Disagree has a couple of episodes out there about the Heisman race, Heisman Trophy in the world of college football. Check out, it's a whole bunch of stuff on One Take Podcast Nation. Hey, really quickly, I appreciate everybody that presses play and checks out anything that I do, shows any form of support. It's a great thing. Look, I'm going to keep this kind of short. I got a great interview that I'm getting ready to get into with a very special guest. I'm a big time boxing fan, but, I'm not, I don't hate on other forms of fighting. So I actually have an amateur MMA fighter coming on named Dominique Carter out of Michigan, and he's affiliated with a company in Michigan named WXC. That's Warrior Extreme Cage Fighting. So he was nice enough to come on. He's a featherweight champ, by the way. So you can check him out on YouTube. You can check out that organization, WXC, on YouTube, as a matter of fact. Very professional looking organization. I was very impressed as I got into some of my research to knock out the interview with Dominique. So I'm gonna bring that up. I just thought I'd run through a couple of quick current events in the world of sports, being that we're in the second week of the NFL season. Just wrapped up with last night's big Bama Ole Miss game. Just wrapped up this week of college football. So we'll get into it. With Ohio State, that's the local team here. I am a fan of the team up north myself, but needing the Big Ten to look good right now, I kind of have to ride with Ohio State to keep us relevant on in a national sense. But they squeaked out a victory last night over the MAC's Northern Illinois University squad. I think it was ended up being 2013, but this was like a 34 point spread going into it. So it was interesting. NIU refused to go away. They actually had a cornerback last name Alluri, that looked damn good. Probably earned himself some looks going into the draft or into the combine preparation portion of the year. So he had 2 picks, just wreaked havoc back there in the secondary. A couple of defensive balls that he was able to come up with. The kid looked good. Offensively, they have an experienced quarterback, but he let the team down bad going down the stretch. The defense kept him in it. The running game actually got him close. I think they kicked the field goal to draw within the 7, thinking that they could hold Ohio State, who wasn't moving the ball. And they had a couple of shots at it, man, but between the coaching staff, the coach, and the QB, they couldn't get a first down to even get to the to Ohio State side of the field and even threaten a victory. And that's kind of one of the disappointing aspects of college football is the 2-minute games. The 2-minute drill is just so uneventful, and probably 70-80% of the time, these teams just cannot drive the length of the field. They never even really took a big shot down the field just to try to catch Ohio State slipping. Just a bunch of underneath stuff, and Ohio State was sitting on a lot of it, knocked down some passes and whatnot, and it just really, for what set up to be a very thrilling situation, it culminated with, really nothing. I don't even think NIU moved the ball 20 yards on the last 3 possessions. But let's look at Ohio State, man, and the great Urban Meyer. I said going into a couple of things that I felt better about me as I look at the world of sports and break down various topics. I thought Cardale Jones, although he did a great, what he did in the first college football's first playoff series, it was unprecedented. I mean, just with a third string quarterback coming in playing that well in the postseason, it was unprecedented. But I thought Barrett should have been a starter. I think everything that Cardale is going through right now with the offense not running on all cylinders, I think Barrett worked through all of this stuff last year as he ascended to the number 1 spot in the QB depth chart. And now I think you're getting that with Cardale. And then I also feel like, Barrett had 45 touchdowns last year, 11 of those rushing. He threw for 65% on his completions. So why not let him play? But I know, Cardale adds this vertical component to the passing game. He's a big man, but then you turn around and you make him run up the middle of the field at 6'5", 250 plus, when I think Barrett would be much better if you are going to run, the quarterback. He's a shorter guy, 6'2", more agility, probably a little bit faster, can do more on the outside, and it's just a better run threat. So it's like, to me, the coaching staff needs to make up their mind. Do we want to be a passing team? Do we want to get into the vertical game? Or are we going to run our quarterback? It just kind of doesn't add up to me. But here's a team that had 3, maybe even 4 potential Heisman candidates between Barrett, JT, Braxton Miller, and Ezekiel Elliott. And here it is in week 2. All of these guys are probably out of the race already if you look at what Fournette did yesterday against Auburn down at LSU. And I said it going in some ways, Braxton Miller looked great against Virginia Tech because he was the biggest threat. He was the biggest weapon pretty much on the field offensively between him and Zeke. Now you bring back the full complement of weapons. And now Ohio State kind of has a similar problem as what was rumored to be about the NFL's Percy Harvin, where you have to do a lot of special stuff just to get the benefit of him. And that's what it seems like now, trying to juggle all the talented wide receivers that they have. But then you also have Braxton that you're trying to work in. He's taking direct snaps. He's doing some of this side-to-side misdirection stuff. That's just too much. It just seems like it's a big distraction. It's no clear leadership on the team. And then when you have to actually pull a QB, the 2 QB system just doesn't work. It's never really worked. They tried it years ago with Stanley Jackson and Joe Germain. And, nobody. And then I guess Florida had it with Chris Lake, was it? And Tebow for a while. But it's just not sustainable. So let's get back to the basics in Columbus. Run, block, tackle. And then when you can do some of that stuff, then you can also add pass and catch. And just keep it simple. Even if they decide to go back with Cardale, do some pro-style stuff. And I know Ezekiel has been bottled up the last couple of games. Teams are filling up the box so that he can't run. But I still think to mix it up, you can never just totally abandon the run. But I don't know. It just looks like a mess down there in Columbus. This was a team that was unanimously voted number 1 going into the season. A couple of close games. Urban, as loose as he was going into week 1, now he seems to be uptight. The team seems to be uptight. I really didn't hear a lot from Bosa yesterday. Adolphus Washington was great. The secondary played really well. I just think they just need to get back to the basics. They're trying to do a lot of, and maybe that's why the defense is ahead. They're just doing what they normally do. But over here on offense, we're trying to do all of this complicated stuff. I know practicing time, is limited by NCAA rules. The offensive coordinator is now gone. Herman, I can't remember. He's Kansas State maybe, or Houston, somewhere. He's in the Southwest, I believe, but he's gone. So you do have a new offensive coordinator coming in. And like I said, you can have too many weapons. And trying to get the ball to everybody, develop your go-to stuff and then build off of that. So I hate to see what's going on down there. Quickly the conference schedule will be upon us, and some of this stuff that they're getting away with NIU and some of the other teams, that stuff is not going to happen. This is actually week 3 for the college football. So, the conference schedule is coming up. They need to work out some of these kinks kind of quickly. And once again, these are collegiate student athletes, and you have 19 to 20-some-year-old kids out there, and it's not going to be, the efficient systems that we see and the efficient play that we see exhibited at the next level, on a week-to-week basis. But here at Ohio State, you have advantages in the fundamental or the basic areas of the game. Just rely on that and win some of these games. Pretty soon the criticism will get bigger and bigger. And then, of course, Michigan State had a pretty convincing win yesterday. So we're still looking at that showdown. My Wolverines actually looked pretty damn good in their win against UNLV. The running game got going, so that was a good sign. A couple more minutes, I'm going to get on to my interview. Like I said, I wanted to keep this short. I will say we also had Bama out there last night. They fell to Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa. It was 43-37 behind the heroics of this kid, Chad Kelly, first-year starter at Ole Miss. Alabama has a couple of first-year starters in Bateman and Coker. Coker actually put it on the line. I guess he responded to being benched. He came out and had a pretty good game, but they were unsuccessful. I thought it was a good look with the powdered helmets. Hugh Freeze, the coach at Ole Miss, I like that he took that challenge on. It was great to see that Treadwell kid back in the lineup after sustaining that horrible lower leg injury last year. I just think the mystique in Bama's gone. And I think the coach, I just think his whole personality is just weighing on the team at this point. And, we're looking at it, Saban, that is. This is a 7, 8, 9 year stretch where they've been, a top tier team, the top tier team. So it happens. And, his quarterbacks, when you get some kids, you hit those years where you are working new quarterbacks in, and, that's even though they had these 3, 4, 5 stars attached to their name coming in, we still don't know what they are at the next level. So, but, Bama lost early. They might be able to work themselves back into the thick of things before it's all said and done. I know one year they backed into the BCS championship game without making it to the championship, the conference championship game. I know the rules have changed a little bit, so they have to work their way back into that bracket to get into the playoffs. But we'll see how it unfolds. It's a lot of ball left to play. LSU whipped up on Auburn pretty easily. I don't remember the final score in that one, but Fournette, is shaping up as a big-time front runner in the Heisman candidate. What's up, B. Meeks? I know he's going to be on your list. I think he has a show coming up later recapping his Heisman look. Check that out. But my question with LSU, they still don't look the greatest at quarterback. They still don't. A lot of time to try to work on that, but I don't see it happening. That QB is just not really a great, prolific passer. But Miles gets it done a whole bunch of different ways down there. I just have one question with Fournette. Here's a guy that has to come back next year, and he's a punishing runner. Somebody that I was keeping an eye on from the beginning of the season. But it just makes me